I want to thank you all so much for having me today. It wasn't too long ago that I hated to wake up at 5:30 in the morning to get ready, to get on the bus on time, and maybe sneak a breakfast taco in there, so that I could come to one of these conferences. So thank you all so much for coming here and being so alive. You know, I saw you all playing the game, and I wanted to play the game right along with you. No one challenged me, so maybe for the next game. So you might be wondering why I'm here. And yes, part of that is that I am a current student at Harvard University. But more than that is, well, I think that I'm a future reflection of what you all can be. When I first moved to the Rio Grande Valley, I didn't speak any English. And I had to sort of teach myself by watching Disney Channel and Nickelodeon and by mimicking all of the accents that I heard. I didn't really like math. I struggled so much with it. I didn't understand why numbers were important. And I really didn't like going to my math class because I was in one class where I just didn't know what I was doing. So you all are incredibly lucky to have so many teachers that really care about you and want to make sure that you understand, you know, the classes that you're taking and why these numbers are important. So give your teachers a round of applause. So the name of this conference is Hanging with Harvard, which is really exciting because I truly feel as if I'm home. When I walked in, I saw all these people with the Harvard hats, with the Harvard shirts, and and not just that, but I feel like I'm with my community, con mi familia. And that's something that has been really important to me while at Harvard. So I, last year, well, through sophomore and my junior year, I was the president of Harvard Radcliffe Raza, which is the Latino Mexican American organization on campus. And when I first got to Harvard, I really didn't think that I was going to be involved with the Latino community. I mean, I knew that I would go to all their events because I wanted the taquitos, which you can't find in Boston. I wanted the Takis, which you can't find in Boston. But I really grew to find my familia there. And Tina mentioned something about, you know, once you leave your school and you go to your colleges, it really doesn't matter, you know, which school district you came from. It doesn't matter if you were a Valley View person, if you were from Rio Hondo, it doesn't matter if you were from Roma. What matters is that you're from the Rio Grande Valley. And I know this because there are 5 students total right now at Harvard right now that are from the Rio Grande Valley. And 2 others of those are in my class. So there are only 3 of us as junior students that are from the Rio Grande Valley. And I personally am really tired of being one of 3 students that knows what marranadas are and that really understands what being in the valley is like, that understands what a corrido is, and that knows our culture. And I talked a little bit about me being a future reflection of yourself, and I truly believe that this is true. I honestly believe that I wouldn't be at Harvard were it not for the Gear Up program. And so I am endlessly thankful to Joe and to Tina, and just to everybody who made sure that I had the resources that I needed to apply to college. When I was in 9th grade, I had no idea where I was going to go to school. I was like, ooh, maybe I'll go to Pan Am, maybe I'll go to UT. Georgetown sounds kind of cool. Like, I had no clue. How many of y'all know where you're going? Okay, I applaud you, because I had absolutely no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I didn't know what I wanted to study. I thought English was really cool, and then maybe politics, and then, you know, math was kind of no way. But I think that was the only thing I was sure about. And so when I got to college, I was really excited that I was, you know, I decided on doing political science, on doing government. I was like, this is perfect. I don't have to worry about math. I don't have to think about, you know, equations and multivariables and like linear thingies, like no. And then for my first government class, lo and behold, so government is another way of saying political science. Political science is the study of politics, the study of governments and sort of movements, but it's still a science. So lo and behold, I still had to deal with equations and multivariables and multiplication and addition and things that I thought that I was going to get away with for free. But no. So this is a perfect example of how no matter where you go, math is still going to be really important. And while you may not be using, y is equal to mc plus b, I messed that up, didn't I? Thank you. So while you may not be using really specific equations, those are still things that are going to be really important in your life. I know that I really didn't think the government was going to have any sort of math. I have a friend who's an English major, and she has to use math. So you really can't get out of it. And I think that the best way to sort of move forward is to have fun with it. And that was something that I think was one of the reasons why I struggled so much with math. That I overcomplicated it in my head, and I made it seem like it was so much harder than it really was. The whole saying, like, it's not rocket science. Yeah, it's not rocket science, yeah. Well, rocket science is based on the things that you all are learning now. Like, if you really look at the equations, it's all sort of broken. It's a more complicated version of what you all are doing now. So you could call yourself rocket scientists. I mean, I wouldn't tell that to a rocket scientist, but you could call yourself rocket scientists, because what you are doing is really, truly sort of the foundation of what our country is doing and for our future. So that's an incredible thing that you all are doing now. And the fact that you have teachers that make it fun for you, that are, I heard that you all are doing like Angry Bird games, and, I don't want to like spoil the surprise. Sorry. But you all are doing some fun things with math, which is not something that, spoiler alert, which is not something that I really took as much advantage of as I should have. I sort of closed my mind to the possibilities that math has for you, and that's something that I encourage you all to look away from. I encourage you to be okay with being troubled, with not understanding something. I know that I hated not knowing. I hated the feeling that science and math would give me because I didn't understand something, and it made me uncomfortable. But something that Joe said earlier, I think is really true. You can't be comfortable and do more with it. You have to challenge yourself. You have to keep going. I have a lot of, in my school district, my year, there weren't too many students that left the state for college. And this was for multiple reasons, and it's totally understandable. A lot of people choose not to leave the valley as well. But I encourage you all to look at different options. And when you're looking at a university, something that we tell the students when they're applying and when they're asking us for advice is don't try to be the student that you think the university wants. You should be the student that you are, right? So if you're applying at Harvard, don't, write your essays like, oh, my name is, and I like, ponies or something like that. Really be yourself, because at the end of the day, what colleges look for is for a diverse and interesting individual. They have a holistic approach to look at students, and so what that means is they look at the whole package. So it's not just your grade. I didn't graduate as valedictorian, and I have a lot of friends at Harvard who were valedictorians. That's not to say that you shouldn't try to be valedictorians. You should definitely try to do your best. But my grades weren't perfect A's. But what I did do was I did a lot of things in my school, and I really enjoyed being in high school. I was involved with Europe. I did UIL competitions. I was in band for a bit and in mariachi. I like to do a lot of things. Yeah, mariachi. And now Harvard has a mariachi too. It's called Mariachi Veritas. You all should check them out. And sometimes I get to sing with them, and that's just an incredible thing. Everything that you do in high school sort of impacts what you'll do in college. Maybe in high school you did spelling, or you were involved in cheerleading. I have a lot of friends who, maybe not a lot of friends, but I have friends that are on the cheerleading squad at Harvard. My freshman year, I joined the band, even though I didn't play an instrument. I joined as prop crew, so I got to help direct the halftime shows. And I got to travel all over the East Coast my freshman year, which is incredible because I didn't have to pay for anything. Last summer, I spent it in Mexico DF, Mexico City, where I was doing a research project on something that really, really interested me. And I got to work with these top-notch professors, and everything was paid for. My trips to Oaxaca, all of my trips to Miguel, I didn't have to pay for a single thing. And that's something that you all can do when you're applying to colleges. Look at what sort of things you want. Don't be afraid to try something new. Don't be afraid to leave the city. And sometimes your parents or your friends, they miss you. I mean, there's not a single time that I've left home or that my mom will come visit me that I don't end up crying and like a total mess with my mascara running all over the place. Because it isn't easy to go to college. It isn't easy to fail a test or to deal with having to read a whole book in a week. It's not easy to leave your friends and have to meet new people. But just because it's not easy doesn't mean it's not worthwhile. And just because it may seem like it's a huge mountain to climb and that it's something that there's no way you could ever get there, that you can't use the resources at your disposal to help make the mountain a little bit easier to climb, right? To create sort of that sky lift to get you to the top. And that's really what Gear Up was for me. I had no idea how to write my essays. I really didn't know what I was doing for to apply to different colleges. I didn't know how I was going to pay for it. But through the help of Gear Up and through the help of all this tutoring that we had for our SAT prep, I was able to, get to where I am now, and I was able to apply. I ended up applying to 17 or 20 schools because I was so afraid that I wouldn't get in anywhere. I just clicked everything with the Common App. But I have a cousin now who is a senior, and he told me that he didn't apply out of state. I was like, why didn't you do that? He's like, well, I just didn't apply Texas. I didn't do the Common App. I was like, why did you not do the Common App? It's so easy, and you can apply to so many colleges. He's like, well, I didn't know. And so that's one of the things that Gear Up does. It helps you know, right? It helps you experience new things, like the egg game revolution. Sorry. It helps you take risks, and there's safe risks where you're in a community of people that really love and support you. And like Tina said, we're here because we love you. We're here because we believe in the future, and because it's about time that the Valley becomes as important and as significant as the people are. Because we have the power to change Texas, not just Texas, but to change the United States as a whole. We are one of the most powerful communities, and we're not being treated as such. And so it's up to us to do our part, to go to college, to take risks, to go out and to really grow into the person that you are meant to be, because you all can be a Harvard student. You all can go to, you could go to Texas State, you could go to Longhorns, or you could end up, at an Ivy League university. You could end up out of state. You could also end up working for the government. You could end up, running our state system. You could end up running the world. And it's just a matter of us understanding that we have that potential and going for it. But I'm going to stop on my rant now because I made it a little preachy. But it's just something that I wholeheartedly believe in. And even in my classes, I always introduce myself. I'm like, I'm from the magical Rio Grande Valley of Texas, specifically Pharr, Texas. And no, it's not Pharr, it's P-H-A-R-R. So they think it's really funny. I kind of have it memorized to a T. But you all can have that, maybe not Pharr, not all of are from Pharr, but you all can have that introduction, right? Really show people what the Rio Grande Valley is and what you all are as students, as people, as Latinos, and as the future leaders that you are. But I know that Tina had mentioned something about having a question and answer for a couple of minutes, so I know I've talked a lot, but do any of you all have any questions? Again, I do work with the admissions office. I am really involved in the Latino community at Harvard. I also do debate, model United Nations, so I've met people from all over the world. I can also talk about sort of what math and science is like at Harvard. A lot of my friends are doing that. One of my friends is like an astronomer, and we like discovered like a planet somewhere in the world, well, in the galaxy. So I can talk about what living with that is like. So yeah, any questions that you all might have?
So the student, I've got your voice.
Okay.
I'll use your voice. So the students are a little shy. But the question kind of boils down to, you had mentioned UN and mariachi. Have you sung before anyone from the UN? And could you give us a little sample?
I can't say that I know whether or not I sang in front of anyone at the UN, because one of the crazy things about Harvard is that you can be walking next to a person and like not know that they are, you know, an ambassador for like UK, or like be invited to go meet the president of Mexico, well, previous former president of it, he's at Harvard right now, or you know, go like end up having coffee with his wife. So I don't know whether I've like sung in front of someone from the UN. I sing as a guest singer, sorry. De la Sierra Morena, cielito lindo. But what it boils down to is that really at Harvard you can do anything that you want, and it sounds so big and it sounds like so like cliche, and it sounds like I'm just messing around with you, but you can literally do anything that you're interested in. You're interested in singing, you can sing. We have like, in one of our dorms, there's like a rock climbing wall. If you've never rock climbed, you can do that for free. The possibilities are truly endless. You know, my first year, I met like Lady Gaga, I met Oprah. I mean, how does that happen, right? And it's just a matter of taking these risks and signing up to do things that you maybe understand is going to be a lot of work. But the work is worth it. You get to learn so much, you get to experience so much. So yeah, any other questions? No, because I'm really bad with lyrics, so sometimes I forget.
No requests.
But I'm flattered that you want to hear it. Yeah, so like study abroad programs kind of? Or, yeah. Okay. So I guess in terms of study abroad, Harvard has this really amazing thing for its financial aid, where if your parents make $65,000 or under, which my mom is a teacher, so she definitely falls under that, your parents are not required to pay anything. Let's just stop and think about that. If your parents make $65,000 or under, you do not have to pay for your school at all. It doesn't matter what grades you got. It doesn't matter what you were involved in high school. All that matters is what your parents need. And that's incredible. I have never paid more than $300 for a semester. I have friends that are currently at UT and they're like $40,000 in debt. Isn't that incredible? With a simple application, you all could be on the way of your future, and I'm going to graduate without any debt. I've been to Mexico. Next semester I'm thinking about going to the UK. And Harvard's financial aid, transfers to any program that you do. So no matter if you are at Harvard or if you decide to do a study-abroad program in the UK or in China or wherever you want to go, Harvard's financial aid travels with you. Yes. No, so Harvard actually has a really, really great policy for Dreamers, or for foreign students, because Harvard does not discriminate whether like you are from the U.S. or whether you are from any other country. Harvard actually has the same amount of financial aid for any student. So we have students from the UK whose parents make under $65,000. And they still get it completely covered. Yeah.
What did you first want to be when you went into high school?
When I first went into high school, so when I was little, I really like law, and so I wanted to be the Chief Supreme Court Justice in the U.S. Easy peasy. But I mean, I really wanted to be a lawyer, and I think that that's something that, you know, my dreams have changed, and I've sort of evolved. But that's something that I've been privileged enough to do, that I haven't had to stick to one dream, that I've been able to pursue all of these different avenues, and you all can too. When you're applying to schools, when you're at school now, don't limit yourself to just one thing. When you were 5, you said you were going to be a doctor, but maybe you're just not feeling medicine anymore, and you like don't really like looking at blood, which is something that happened to me. I didn't like blood. I didn't like sewing into people. You can change your mind, but do it like with an educated sort of plan, right? And that's what Gear Up helps you do. Gear Up helps you, decide what it is that you're best at. You take aptitude tests, and all these really different things that help you sort of decide what it is that you love to do. Because at the end of the day, if you don't love what you're doing, you're going to be miserable. So you might as well do something that you love, right? So Harvard's actually incredibly flexible in its admission standards compared to other schools, because we really want to make sure that we have the best and brightest minds in the world. So what that means is we don't have a minimum SAT score, we don't have a minimum ACT score, we don't require a certain grade point average for its students. But the way that we approach admitting an applicant is we have a holistic approach, right? So we look at what the class of, what class are you all going to be?
2017.
2017.
Come on, guys. 2017.
Okay, I need for you all to be really excited about graduating, because you all are going to be the class of 2017, which is going to make a change. And so when we're looking at the applicant pool of 2017, when we're looking at the applicant pool of 2017, we're going to look at the different students that are coming in, because at the end of the day, what we want is, and something that you'll notice, is that no one school has any same students. So nowhere that you go are you going to have like the same interest in the student, or kind of the same extracurriculars. Everybody's going to be different. So what Harvard really looks at is sort of completing this class and making sure that everyone fits in well. They're looking for people that are college bound, that have been taking rigorous courses and that have been challenging themselves, not just in their classes, but in their extracurricular activities as well. So do things that are outside of your comfort zone. Get uncomfortable. Take risks.
What rank are you guys the whole country?
I'm not entirely sure. It fluctuates. Most of the time we're number 1, joking. But we are, for the most part, in the top 5 of the colleges. But anyway, I know that you all have a lot of things to do. If you all have any questions that I didn't get to address, just please feel free to come and talk to me. But you all have a really, really great day lined up for you all, and I'm really excited, and I wish that I could stay. But yeah, if you all have any questions, please just ask me. I'm more than happy to speak with you. Thank you so much.